Welcome back to the deep dive. We're here to cut through the noise, get you properly informed. Today we're exploring something maybe a bit hidden, an engine of innovation, really. It's a market impacting, well, everything from our health to advanced manufacturing. But it often just flies under the radar. This whole deep dive is basically set up to give you a clear, concise picture of its global landscape. Okay, so let's unpack this a bit. We're talking about the global bioceramic materials market. And what's really fascinating here isn't just, the raw numbers. It's what they tell us about global trends, about where the next big things are happening. Maybe for listeners who are newer to this. What exactly are these bioceramic materials? Why are they so vital?
Yeah, that's a really good place to start. So bioceramics, they're incredibly versatile materials, high performance. Often they're ceramic compounds, but they're specifically designed to interact safely with biological systems, or sometimes to just withstand really extreme industrial conditions. Think about like a hip replacement letting someone walk again, or maybe a dental implant that, restores a smile. Even specialized parts and really high temperature industrial processes, they're unique properties. They make them indispensable in fields like healthcare and advanced manufacturing. So understanding their market dynamics is, well, it's critical. It shows where the money and the innovation are really flowing.
Right. So our mission today, essentially, is to boil down the key trends from some pretty detailed market forecasts.
Yeah.
We want to give you that shortcut, so you're well informed about how things look across different regions, different countries.
Yeah.
And just so you know, all our data today comes from cognitive market research. Okay, let's set the scene. The big picture. The global market was valued at roughly $3.35 billion back in 2021. Projections show it growing to around $4.65 billion by 2025. And then look at this, almost doubling to nearly $9 billion by 2033. That's showing a really robust compound annual growth rate. These CAGR of about 8.5%. I mean, that's substantial growth for any industry, isn't it?
Absolutely. That's a very healthy rate.
Okay, so here's where it gets really interesting, I think. We start breaking down these global figures by region. We're going to pinpoint some specific trends and maybe find some surprising pockets of really fast growth. Let's kick things off with a major player, Asia Pacific. This region, it shows incredibly strong presence, continued growth. It's set to surge from about $1.15 billion in 2021 to a projected $3.17 billion by 2033. That's an impressive CAGR, close to 8.85%. And within Asia-Pacific, China really stands out, doesn't it? It's growing from around $464 million in 2021 to nearly $1.3 billion by 2033. What do you see as the main drivers behind China's, significant lead there?
Well, China's sheer scale is obviously a factor, but it's not just size driving this rapid expansion. It's very likely fueled by pretty aggressive investment in healthcare infrastructure. Plus, they have a large and frankly aging population, which demands more advanced medical implants. And then there's the robust growth in their industrial manufacturing sectors. They're increasingly using these kinds of materials. India also shows really promising growth, moving from about $218 million in 2021 to over $613 million by 2033. That suggests, similar underlying demand factors are at play.
Okay, so beyond those two giants, China and India, how are the other key players in the region doing?
Well, while China and India drive a lot of the volume, you've got Japan, South Korea, Australia. They also maintained pretty steady growth rates above 8%. These reflect more mature markets, but still with consistent demand. Singapore's CAGR was a little lower, around 6.4%, but still, quite healthy. And just to give a broader sense of activity, Southeast Asia is projected to rise from almost $96 million in 2021 to over $250 million by 2033. And Taiwan increased from about $39 million to over $85 million in that same time frame. So the overall vibrancy and just the scale of expansion across Asia-Pacific, it really does stand out.
Interesting. Now, shifting focus a bit, away from those Asian giants, let's look at Europe. It's charting its own pretty impressive course, too. Its market was around $950 million in 2021. Forecasts put it at $1.3 billion by 2025, and projected to hit nearly $2.45 billion by 2033. That's with a healthy CAGR of about 8.2%. Germany leads the way here, right? Poised to grow from $235.5 million in 2021 to over $592 million by 2033. Then the United Kingdom follows, moving from around $146 million to over $364 million. And France, Italy, Russia, Spain, they also show consistent growth, all expected to more than double their market value by 2033.
Exactly. And, while those larger economies are obviously significant, you've got smaller markets too. Sweden, Denmark, Switzerland, Luxembourg, they saw a respectable CGR somewhere between, say, 6.2% and nearly 8%, which really indicates widespread adoption of bioceramics across quite diverse European economies.
But here's something, a real nugget we pulled from the data, the rest of Europe category. It showed remarkably aggressive growth. It's projected to jump from about $77 million in 2021 to over $315 million by 2033. That's a CAGR close to 10.9%. That's huge. Now, this segment includes a real mix of countries. What might be driving such a strong collective surge there? Any thoughts?
That is a fantastic question, and it really points to the nuances within the market, doesn't it? It could be, well, a combination of things. Maybe smaller, more agile economies rapidly adopting cutting-edge industrial uses in advanced manufacturing, or perhaps specialized medical tourism niches driving demand for, high-end implants. It also suggests maybe innovation isn't just happening in the biggest economies, it's more decentralized.
Fascinating. Okay, let's move across the Atlantic. North America, a leading player definitely with a truly dynamic edge. Its market size was about $865 million in 2021, growing to nearly $1.2 billion in 2025, and expected to reach over $2.25 billion by 2033. That's a CAGR of 8.34%. The United States, well, no surprise there, leads the region, expanding from roughly $732 million in 2021 to over $1.9 billion by 2033.
And Canada shows strong numbers, too, increasing from about $92.6 million in 2021 to over $230 million by 2033. That's a CAGR just under 8%.
And then let's not light Mexico for a second. It posted just over $40 million back in 2021, expected to hit nearly $129 million by 2033. That makes it the fastest growing in the region with a powerful CAGR nearing 9.6%. Why do you think Mexico's showing that particular surge within North America?
Another excellent question. Mexico's really robust growth. It could be linked to increased foreign direct investment, maybe, especially in high-tech manufacturing, sectors producing medical devices or advanced industrial components, perhaps. Plus, its strategic location, being close to the huge U.S. market, makes it pretty attractive for companies looking to scale up production of these advanced materials.
Makes sense. Okay, now let's turn our attention southward to South America, a region showing consistent progress. Its market valued around $147.6 million in 2021, projected to reach $195.3 million by 2025, and over $348 million in 2033. That reflects a respectable CER of 7.5%.
And Brazil really leads the way there, growing from about $76.3 million in 2021 to over $182 million by 2033. But beyond Brazil, you have Argentina, Colombia, Peru, Chile, all showing consistent growth. And similar to what we saw in Europe, that rest of South America segment also jumped from nearly $20 million to over $50 million. It's a solid CGR of over 8%.
Okay, next up, the Middle East. This region is showcasing some really robust expansion in this sector. Market reached about $141 million in 2021, expected to rise over $209 million by 2025. And a strong $420 million projected for 2033. That marks an impressive CAGR, nearly 9.1%.
Yes, and within that, Saudi Arabia, Turkey, the UAE, they all posted strong PBR figures above 9%. Egypt and Qatar are following close behind, too. But what's particularly striking, I think, is the significant contribution from the rest of Middle East category again. It more than triples, from about $26 million in 2021 to over $78 million by 2033. This really points towards a broader regional push in development.
Right. And finally, let's wrap up our regional tour with Africa. The continent's market was valued at roughly $97.3 million in 2021, estimated to hit $144 million in 2025, and projected to grow to over $284 million by 2033. That's at a healthy CAGR of almost 8.9%. Yeah, it's genuinely exciting to see this emerging momentum, isn't it?
It really is. And within Africa, Nigeria actually takes the lead, growing from about $15.7 million in 2021 to more than triple that, reaching nearly $48 million by 2033. That's a CAGR over 9.1%. Quite strong. South Africa also shows steady growth, increasing from about $45.2 million in 2021 to over $131 million by 2033. And that rest of Africa segment is also poised for significant expansion, moving from about $36.3 million to over $105 million in the same period.
Okay, wow. So we've covered a lot of ground, a lot of numbers. What does this all mean when you put it together? We've just seen this clear picture of a global bioceramic materials market experiencing really consistent, strong growth, but with specific countries and even those rest of regions showing particularly aggressive expansion. These insights, they really give a more nuanced feel for the global dynamics beyond just the big headline numbers.
Exactly. If you connect the dots, these figures clearly suggest a growing and actually quite broad-based demand for all the different uses of bioceramic materials. And that's across really varied economies. It indicates significant industry shifts, yes, but also opens up considerable opportunities. For innovation, for development globally, it really highlights that adopting these advanced materials isn't just for the established industrial powers anymore. It's truly a global thing now.
So here's something for you, the listener, to think about. As you consider this global growth, what underlying factors do you think are really propelling that especially aggressive growth in places like the rest of Europe or Mexico or Nigeria? Maybe think about healthcare infrastructure, industrialization efforts, even just quality of life improvements. How might these seemingly different areas share perhaps common drivers for growth in this very specialized market? Something to chew on. Well, that brings us to the end of another deep dive. Thank you so much for joining us on this exploration of the bioceramic materials market. We really hope these insights help empower your understanding. Keep exploring, keep questioning, and we'll see you next time for another journey of discovery.
Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going to cut through the noise. We want to get you truly smart on a really game-changing medical frontier, the global bioceramic materials market. Our mission? Well, it's to unpack its key drivers, the significant restraints it faces, and the emerging trends. Trends that are really poised to redefine modern medicine. Think of this as your essential shortcut, your way to be well-informed on where healthcare innovation is really heading.
Absolutely. And it's not an exaggeration to say this sector holds, well, foundational importance. The aha moments here, they come from realizing how these materials are literally shaping the future of medical interventions.
Yeah.
Everything from common procedures to really revolutionary therapies. And just so you know, for this deep dive, every insight we share is directly sourced from cognitive market research.
Okay, let's unpack this then. So let's maybe kick things off with what's propelling this market forward. What are the core forces, driving the demand and growth of bioceramic materials in healthcare right now?
Well, the first major force is undoubtedly the escalating demand for orthopedic and dental implants. We're seeing a really significant sustained increase in the need for advanced solutions.
Right.
Things like joint replacements, sophisticated bone grafts, and dental restorations too.
Yeah, that growing need makes a lot of sense, especially with global demographics changing. But why bioceramics specifically? Why are they becoming the material of choice over, say, more traditional options?
Right. It's really down to their unique properties. It goes beyond just being compatible. You see, bioceramics like hydroxyapatite and zirconia, they're not just well tolerated, they possess exceptional biocompatibility. And crucially, this remarkable capacity for direct integration with human bone tissue. The real breakthrough isn't just compatibility, it's that they are biointeractive. They actually prompt the body to heal with them, not just around them.
Ah, okay. So it's a fundamental shift, not just replacing, but integrating.
Exactly. It moves the goal from mere replacement to true biological integration. And that's increasingly critical, as you mentioned, with our aging global population.
That is a profound shift, moving from coexistence to active participation in healing. And I imagine advancements in biomedical engineering, regenerative medicine, they must be playing a huge role here too.
Oh, absolutely. Bioceramics are becoming indispensable in these cutting-edge fields. Think tissue engineering, stem cell therapy, developing scaffold technologies. They're essential. They're crucial for promoting cell attachment, guiding tissue growth, fostering bone regeneration. If you zoom out a bit, these materials are literally allowing us to kind of build or rebuild biology, ways that used to be science fiction. So yeah, they're at the very core of next-generation therapeutic innovations.
And beyond this deep integration aspect, there seems to be a push for metal-free, inert biomaterials. What specific advantages do bioceramics offer there compared to, say, traditional metallic implants, especially for patient outcomes?
Yeah, the key advantage there is their inherent stability. Bioceramics are chemically inert, and they're highly resistant to corrosion inside the body. It's not just about avoiding that immediate immune rejection. It's about eliminating the chronic inflammation you sometimes get with metallic ion release. That release can slowly degrade surrounding tissues over many years. So for patients with metal sensitivities or those needing implants that last decades, bioceramics offer this silent and stable partnership with the body. It significantly lowers those long-term complication risks.
Okay, so we've looked at what's pushing the market forward. Powerful stuff. But even the most promising fields hit roadblocks, right? What are the maybe engineering and economic realities slowing down broader adoption of bioceramics today?
Right. Well, despite all their biological plus points, the primary challenge really remains their physical properties, specifically brittleness and inherent mechanical limitations.
That feels a bit counterintuitive, doesn't it? For materials meant to integrate with bone. What are the specific engineering hurdles there?
Well, bioceramics are often brittle. They tend to have low tensile strength. This means they're not just prone to shattering under impact, which is one issue, but their low tensile strength also makes them less suitable for applications where you have significant pulling or bending forces, high-stress areas. And this really limits their widespread use in certain critical load-bearing orthopedic procedures. Complex joint prosthetics, for instance, become a real engineering puzzle. This brittleness, it creates a core paradox. The materials that integrate best biologically are often the ones least able to bear significant loads. So the industry's next big frontier isn't just creating new materials, but mastering how to make them both biologically at home and mechanically robust.
That's a vital engineering challenge, and it sounds like innovating here also comes with a pretty hefty price tag. Can you detail the high costs? Development, customization?
Indeed. Creating bioceramics with very specific properties like, say, controlled porosity for drug delivery or enhanced bioactivity for faster healing, it requires extreme precision engineering. You need specialized manufacturing processes, intensive research. We're talking rigorous testing protocols, both in vitro and in vivo, developing novel surface functionalization techniques. All this drives up R&D costs significantly, and that consequently limits accessibility. Smaller medical institutions, healthcare providers, it creates a barrier to broader market penetration.
And then finally, the regulatory hurdles. Always a factor in medicine. How do these complex regulatory and approval processes impact the speed at which new bioceramic products can actually reach patients?
They add a really significant layer of delay and expense, no question. Bioceramics intended for medical implants for invasive procedures, they have to navigate an extremely stringent regulatory landscape. This involves lengthy approval timelines, exhaustive biocompatibility and safety tests, for instance, getting FDA or EMA approval. It can take years, sometimes even a decade, for truly novel materials. And that's particularly challenging for, the more agile emerging players and startups trying to introduce potentially groundbreaking solutions.
Right. So we've covered the drivers pushing forward and the restraints holding things back. But despite these pretty formidable hurdles, it sounds like the innovation engine in bioceramics isn't just sputtering along. It's actually accelerating. What are the breakthroughs that promise to overcome these limitations and maybe redefine the market's future? Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the most transformative trends, I think, is the integration of bioceramic powders into 3D printing for medical implants. This isn't just about making things faster, though it helps. It enables the creation of highly personalized implants, bone scaffolds too, tailored precisely to an individual patient's unique anatomy.
Wow, that sounds like a genuine revolution for surgical planning and patient-specific treatments.
It absolutely is. This level of customization, it dramatically improves both surgical outcomes and long-term implant compatibility. The real benefit is the ability to create these incredibly intricate, biologically optimized structures, things that were just impossible with traditional manufacturing. We're really seeing a total reimagining of prosthetics and complex surgical planning.
Okay, so beyond these complex custom implants, I've also noticed bioceramics seem to be making waves in more common dental procedures. What's happening there?
Yes, they're making a massive impact in dental aesthetics and restorative care. Huge. Materials like zirconia, alumina, they're now widely used in crowns, bridges, veneers. Their natural appearance, their exceptional durability, superior strength, it's quickly made them the standard.
Yeah.
Especially in high-end cosmetic dentistry and among patients looking for long-lasting, really aesthetically pleasing solutions. Got it. And what about the, let's say, truly futuristic side? You hinted earlier at implants that do much more than just provide support. What's the cutting edge with smart and bioactive ceramics? This is where we're really seeing a paradigm shift starting to happen. Ongoing research is focused on developing these next-generation materials that actively interact with biological tissues.
Right.
So this means they can actively promote healing, maybe respond to biological cues, or even release targeted medications directly inside the body. We're already seeing promising applications. Things like spinal repair, where they can encourage bone fusion, and even in targeted cancer therapies, where implants could deliver drugs precisely where they're needed, minimizing side effects. We're genuinely talking about a future where medical devices don't just support, but actively heal.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening? We've taken quite a deep dive into the dynamic nature of this bioceramic materials market, from its rapid clinical adoption to these groundbreaking next-gen innovations.
And I think it just reinforces the idea that this sector is truly at the forefront of medical advancement. It's continuously pushing the boundaries of what's possible in healthcare.
So what stands out to you? How are these materials transforming medicine? Or what questions do they raise for you about where this is all headed? And here's a final thought to mull over. Considering these rapid advancements, especially in smart and bioactive ceramics, the ones that can interact with tissues, release meds, what are the broader societal implications we should be contemplating, especially as implants become more integrated, more intelligent within the human body?
And just a reminder, all the data and insights we've discussed in this deep dive came directly from cognitive market research.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious and stay informed.